So, hello there, dear friends. This is Bob Hatton. This is the Encourager, and we're coming to a really very encouraging part of our journey, looking at the heart of the Father, looking about coming back home for Christmas. And we come to chapter 15, the Gospel of Luke, and that is the story of the prodigal son. Well, actually, in this chapter 15, there are three stories. Jesus starts off by telling us a story about a shepherd who loses one of his sheep. He has 100 sheep and he loses one, and he leaves the 99 and he goes and looks for this sheep. And when he finds it, he comes back and brings it back to the sheepfold. And then the next story is about a woman who has 10 coins. I think these coins are valuable, and what I've seen on the pictures, I'm not absolutely sure whether this is what Jesus was talking about, but it's something similar. She got these 10 coins for a wedding present, and they were made into a necklace, and this necklace had 10 coins. And one morning when she got this necklace out, and she found that one of the coins had gone missing. So she started to look for this one coin, and she turned everything upside down looking for this coin. And when she found it, she was very happy. And then the third story is the story of the prodigal son. So the first story is in a ratio of 1 to 99, and actually it's outside of church, it's outside of the kingdom of God, it's outside of this relationship that we can have with the Father in heaven, and there's somebody who is missing. And for us as Christians, it should be a burden on our heart that we find those who are missing and we bring them into the fold. And then the next one is a ratio of 1 to 9, or 1 to 10. And this is something that has gone lost in the house. And, I believe that in the churches that we have, and people who are confessing to be Christians, that there's quite a number of them who are actually lost. That should also be one of our priorities, to bring them into a personal relationship with Jesus. And of course, the last story, the story of the prodigal son, is a ratio of 1 to 1 or 1 to 50. I don't know how to mathematically really work that out. But it's a 1-on-1, and it's someone who is very close to us, needs to be brought back to the Lord. Now, at the end of the first story, when the shepherd is so happy that he brought his sheep back into the fold, at the end of that story, it just says, and there's great joy in heaven about one person who repents. And then after the second story, it says again, there is great joy before the angels after one person has repented. So the thing about repenting, about coming back into the sheepfold, about being found, and even the last story ends with a party. There's a lot of joy, and in the first instance, there's joy in heaven. There's the angels and there's God. And if you read in the last book of the Bible, in the book of Revelation, we find out that there's quite a number of different figures in heaven, and they're all rejoicing, because rejoicing means they're extremely happy about this person who has repented, who has come back to the sheepfold. And then after the second story, it says there is great joy in heaven in front of the angels. So I'm thinking, who is sitting or who is standing opposite the angels? And that's God the Father himself. He is extremely happy about people who are being found. And of course, now that leads us to this third story, which is very dramatic, the story of the prodigal son. I think this is my favorite story in the Bible. And it's about a man who had two sons. I think this man is quite wealthy. He'd worked very hard and he got his money together. And one day the younger son comes to him and he says, "Father, give me that which is mine." And what he's saying, he said, "Father, I want my inheritance and I want it now." Now, the people who were listening to Jesus, they must have been thinking, what on earth is he talking about? You get your inheritance when the father has died. Well, what the son was actually saying was, Father, I wish you were dead. I wish you were dead. So give me that now, which, which belongs to me. Give me my inheritance. And the people are thinking, who are listening to this is crazy. Who would ever do that? And then the next crazy thing is the father gives him his inheritance. No father would do that. But, they're listening. How on earth is this story going to end? This is something completely different than what we've heard before or what we would expect. So they're listening. And then Jesus explains that after just a few days, the son clears off. He takes his bags and he goes and he emigrates. He goes into another country. And there he's got this money that the father has dearly, collected, has put together, has saved. He probably, he took some risks in his business, but they paid off. And then he worked very hard, probably saved a lot of money. He didn't go on holiday very often because he needed the funds to build up his business. And now he gives a half of the money that he has earned. He gives that to his younger son, who just goes and squanders it, who just goes and throws it out of the window. And it doesn't take him very long. And the money that the father has collected over a number of years or a number of decades, it's gone, it's spent, it's all gone. And the son is penniless, and he's in a foreign country. And in this foreign country, there's then an economic crisis. There's a famine, and there's nothing to eat there. And so the son eventually finds a job working for a pig farmer. And he goes and looks after these pigs. And the job is paid so badly that he actually shares the food with the pigs. And one day when he's sitting there, probably, sick and tired and fed up of the life that he's got, he thinks about his dad. And he says, doesn't my father have casual laborers who come and they work for him, they have enough to eat, they get paid, they live in a dry, comfortable place? Maybe I should go back home. Maybe I should ask my father and tell him, I'm not worthy to be your son, but would you please take me on as one of your casual laborers? And he decided he was going to go back home. And I guess the first steps were very, very difficult. But as he got nearer to his father's house, the steps must have been extremely difficult. He was going back home. But then the Bible tells us something really remarkable in verse 20, I think. And it says there, but while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion and ran and embraced him and kissed him. What a wonderful story this is. While he was still far away, the father saw him. And I've thought about this many times. How come the father saw him when he was a long way away? It was because he was looking for him. He was waiting for him. Maybe from the very first day the son went away, the father was waiting for him, and he was looking, he was staring at the horizon. And on this special day, he saw the silhouette of the sun on the horizon, and it knew it was him. Now, I'm not just telling this story to make you happy or because it's Christmas time. I'm telling this story because it is our story, and actually, the Father is waiting for you. He's looking for you. He wants you to come home. And perhaps this coming home at Christmas, this series of talks that I've been doing, maybe you've been touched in your heart and you've really felt, yeah, we are living in a fatherless time. Our fathers have disappointed us. I've been a disappointment as a father as well. But we got this Father in heaven. Jesus says, when you pray, say, our Father who is in heaven. We have a Father in heaven. Whether you have a relationship to him today or not, it doesn't matter. You have a Father in heaven, and this Father in heaven, he's waiting for you. And maybe I can just invite you to come home today. Come home today. The Father is really waiting for you. The Father would like to come and meet you. And you know something, even if you're still far away, if you're coming very slowly in his direction, he will see you, because he's looking for you and he's waiting for you. So, dear friends, this is an invitation. We're going to continue this story tomorrow, but this is an invitation to you to come home. Come home and come back to the Father. He really does want you. Well, that's it for today, dear friends. I hope that this really touches your heart. And I would love to hear that some of you have returned home. You have come home. It doesn't matter wherever you've been and what you've done. The Father is still waiting for you, and he will, in fact, he will go out and meet you. Well, God bless you. Have a good day. You're Bob Hatton, your encourager.